I would be like, nope. Welcome to today's episode. My guest today is someone I'm super excited to talk to. I think I met you 2 years ago at AWP in Portland. His name is Steven Dunn. Steven Dunn is the author of two novels, Pot and Meat and Water and Power. He was born and raised in West Virginia, spent 10 years in the Navy, and then earned his BA in creative writing from the University of Denver. And that's where you still live, yeah?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. And some of his work can be found in Columbia Journal, Groundtown Magazine, and Best Small Fiction of 2018. Please welcome Steven Dunn. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I got my boss texting me, but I'm still.
I've been having writers on, just asking them about their own experiences with hauntings or ghosts or just seeing all paranormal stuff. Have you had experiences like that?
I haven't, and it's something I feel bad about. Like maybe I'm not sensitive for something, but like I want to see a ghost, right?
Right.
Yes, and when you asked me to talk about it, I was like, man, I haven't seen anything personally, but it shows up a lot. And I lived with, like, my grandma was always seeing things in the house. So I'm like, something must be there, but I'm not. Something is up with me that I'm not seeing it. You know, I don't know. It's very odd. So
yeah. So what was your grandma seeing, and was she passing down stories to you, or?
No, she was seeing her husband that died in early '80s. So I didn't know him. Yeah, so she was seeing him all the time, like daytime, nighttime. So we'll be sitting there, at the kitchen table. She was like, "Oh, there he is." He came downstairs or whatever. And I'm like, "Oh my god," Then I would also be a little scared of that too, like as a child and as a teenager. Like I'm living in here with ghosts, even though I don't see them. So that made me even more scared of it, right? Like that I can access this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. How about other people in your family?
Yeah, like kids sometimes would see things. So like even when I was middle, like maybe a teenager, so like the younger cousins and stuff, so they would see ghosts like without any prompting, like they were like, yeah, somebody's outside or whatever, or there was a ghost outside. My grandma was like, oh yeah, like for sure, like they were on this thing and then I wasn't, and I was like, man, so I was like, it's coming from both ends here. So I always wondered, like, I feel like there is something, but for some reason I haven't had access to that.
You felt left out from the generation.
Yeah. These motherfucking ghosts too, man. Like, yes, I don't know. Yeah, but like, I don't want to say metaphorically. I like ghosts metaphorically, or I don't like, appreciate what they can offer, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How about your wife? I mean, and your own kids, actually.
Oh well, my youngest, he's always hearing something in the walls in the house. He's 4, so yeah, he's like, somebody lives in the walls, according to him, And I don't think my wife has ever seen anything. Yeah, I don't know if my daughter's 18. I don't know if she has, but my youngest kid is always talking about ghosts. And I know when he's talking about like play TV ghosts, like for fun. I know what he's playing, but when he's serious sometimes about seeing things in the wall, since he was like 2, it's like, oh, somebody lives in the wall. And in our house, we have a yellow handprint and the word Hannah written backwards. So I was like, man, maybe fucking Hannah lives in the walls. I don't know.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's weird as shit. Yeah.
So, well, that's been there since you moved in there?
Yeah. And I was, and the people who lived here before us, so our house is like made in 1928. They used to be like owned by the Klan and shit too. So I don't know, but the people who lived here before us, their kids weren't named Hannah. Maybe somebody's kid's name was Hannah somewhere. That's my guess, maybe. But it's weird that the writing is backwards. The end, I mean, Hannah is what it spells both ways, right? I guess HANNAH.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I guess. So I don't know if it was just a little kid that didn't know how to write ends, but it looks backwards, and the fucking handprint looks weird. It's like a little kid handprint. So I'm like, it's probably Hannah that lives in the
I don't know. I don't know if you ever watched Channel Zero.
No.
It's a series that they made out of a bunch of like creepy pasta stories. And there's one season about a woman who finds a handprint on her door. And this crazy character named Pretzel Jack comes out of there. You should watch it, and then you'll want to probably paint over that handprint on your wall.
Yeah. I've left it in. It's in the back of the closet, and I don't.
No, in the show, it's in the back of the closet.
Oh shit! Really? Oh,
Yeah, Pretzel Jack is a legendary character. You got to check it out.
okay, what is it called? You say
Channel Zero.
okay?
Your grandma is from West Virginia also, or?
Yeah, she is. I think partly Alabama before, then moved up when they were younger or something. So, yeah. So a lot of my family's from the South, but West Virginia had jobs in the coal mine, so a lot of people moved up there to work. So.
Especially in this country with the history, like you living in a house where like Klan members lived in, you know what I mean? It's like, there's gotta be freaking crazy spirits going around.
Yeah. I wrote. Oh, I forgot about the story. I wrote a joke story since my house is owned by a Klan member that he was mad that I lived here, so he was like, yeah, like interrupt my TV watching. I used to make this Klan member watch Roots and shit. I think it was a joke like he would like stick knives and like Aunt Jemima and shit and Uncle Ben's rice. So I would like, make the Klan member take off his hood and watch Roots. I forgot about this story to just now. Wow.
He's trying to get you to watch Game of Thrones. Is it like when you first started writing, like did those stories were those stories of your grandma and like the her husband and all that stuff something that you thought you'd want to approach writing about?
I did. I wrote one about my sister. So my sister was a twin, but her twin died maybe like 4 months in, and I feel like there was always a presence either from my mom and my sister. I don't know. It was something there. Like my sister was always like more sensitive than everybody, and kind of, the family was like, yes, that's because she is, like this half that died, so she is also this person too. So it's like growing up with my sister being two people, which was really interesting, and that we like visited my dad's sister's grave every year. So I did end up writing about that too. And but yeah, the way it showed up for me is just like feeling those presence in family and stuff, even though I haven't like personally seen, go.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It's wild. Like, it's hard to going back to like your kid to draw the line between kids going, oh, there are things living in the wall, to like kids actually going, no, there are actually things living in the wall.
yeah.
and, and which is sort of how it started for me with my parents, right? It's like,
Okay.
yeah, oh, there's someone here. Then going, there's nobody there, and then finally going, oh yeah, there is somebody there.
Wow.
Yeah, for me, when I started writing, I remember thinking, oh wow, maybe all those things were for me to create these stories.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely I did tap into some of that with my grandmother too. With like multiple. So when I was a teenager, I think it was dementia. We didn't know what to call it, I guess. I don't know. But I always had to pretend to be different people. Like when I was doing their hair, like in order to like help my grandmother, right? So I don't know, she would think I was somebody, so I had to she would think I was her daughter. So then I had to act like her daughter. Then I was her husband, so I had to act like him, and I think there was something there already. And this was like, these people were already present to her even before she got that old and was, starting to forget things. But when she was starting to forget things, like these things were very much present, and I had to be all of these different people, within the space of like 15 minutes. I could have been like 5 different people, like when I'm doing his hair. So I wrote about that in Potted Meat too, just like me slipping back and forth, and then get to a point where maybe she didn't tell me something, so I was like base it off the story she had already told me. So I had to like come up with stories on the spot, So I would be doing her hair, and she was like, "Oh yeah, remember we went up to Cleveland to do something?" And I was like, "Shit, I don't remember her talking about anything about Cleveland." So I'm like, "Yeah, I remember we did this and we did that." Just like,
Oh my God.
shit. So and I always tell people like I became a writer late in life, like 26. I never thought about writing before I was 26 years old. I was always a painter and shit. So I was like, I guess I was like doing this type of writing in a way, like doing my grandmother's hair and embodying all of these different characters in a way, but very much real people. So yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, it was. So, I mean, and some of it was funny too. Like I had to gauge, like Wheel of Fortune would be on often. So I was like, all right, she's like on it with Wheel of Fortune. She's like in this present moment, at the time. Then she started talking about something else. So one time, like she called me her daughter. So I was like, all right, I'm her oldest daughter now. So I was like, girl, you got to get some with this hair. And then like, she kind of like came back to the moment. It was like, why are you talking like, I'm not saying I'm just, my grandma, 80 something in the 90s, right? So that's what she was saying. And I was like, so like, I was still in character, but she had come back to the moment, and then hear me talking like, girl, and all of this shit. I was like, wow. So it was a lot of like negotiation, like when I could figure out like when is she here and when is she not, and when am I here, and then, but then there were certain people, just because I was an angry teenager and kind of had some issues with my stepdad at the time. So at some point, like I had to be my stepdad, but I would refuse, like so then I had some like, but at the same time, I was denying my grandmother because I was denying to be my stepdad, and I felt bad about it. So I had some limits in my acting, which was odd. Yeah, it's a very weird thing to do as a teenager, I guess.
So you wanted to become a writer while you were still in the military?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think I figured it out. Yeah, I had an art show downtown Denver, and it took me like a year to prepare for this art show, and it just didn't feel right, but I did it anyway because like this is what I do. I paint. And my wife, she was my girlfriend then. She was like, "You ever realize how many words you have on your paintings?" And I was like, "Shit, I didn't like realize it. I knew they were there, but I didn't know why I was doing it." And then that moment, I was like, "All right, I should probably be a writer." So I switched over to writing. That's what did.
Every so often, I'll pull out my high school yearbook, and like all my friends sign "Good luck in art school," because I was gonna go to art school.
Okay, yeah.
So then I was like, wow. Like even as high school was ending, everybody was convinced that, including me, that I was going off to art school.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, actually, I think I'll write.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I was going to be an architect and an artist. Right? Like this, and then like the last minute of my senior year, I was like, I'm gonna just go to the Navy. It's like it was just like the easiest way to get away and shit. Like I didn't know anything about college, how to get there, how to pay for it. But then after I joined the Navy and shit, I found out I got all of these scholarships and shit, like academic scholarships. So I could have gone. I could have been a fucking architect instead of in the dumbass Navy. But
Wait, what countries did you go to, if any, through the military?
Oh, a lot. That's what was cool about it. I would have liked to go through those countries without being in the military, but like Japan, South Korea, Guam. I'm gonna call Guam a fucking country. Guam, Hawaii. I'm gonna call Hawaii a country too. Goddamn it, even though it's
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. It's to me. Yeah. Yeah. Singapore, Thailand. Where else? That's it. Yeah, but it was like Japan a lot and Korea a lot. So I was stationed in Hawaii, so it was going to Japan and Korea a lot.
Okay.
Food, man. Yeah, I know it's not about food, but like for real, South Korean. I know I always comment when you talk about Korean food and stuff, but that shit blew my mind, man. My fucking West Virginia ass mind, crazy and shit, like,
yeah.
Man, I was like, what the fuck? Like, food. Yeah.
I'm like that here in Pittsburgh, but in reverse. Like going, what the fuck is this?
Oh man.
Yeah, it was funny. We went to a place, and then when we first moved here, It's like some salad, and it said Pittsburgh style, and we were joking, going, "What is it? Have fries on it?" So we ordered it. It was a salad with fries on it. I was
Oh,
like, I was like, "This isn't food." I mean, I'll eat the fries, but
yeah.
this isn't food.
Pittsburgh was the first city I fell in love with.
Oh, you did? When were you here?
I just went there, like when we were in West Virginia. I went there a few times, probably because I was from West Virginia and
Yeah.
it's not in the city. But I just liked how depressing that shit was, man. I don't know. It was like it was great, fucking great everything. Streets, cars, the sky, the damn rivers and shit. Like I just loved it. I think I went there in the winter. It was like great shit. I was like, yeah, this is cool. I like it. And I went to Glasgow, Scotland to like in 2013, I was like, ooh, this is fucking Pittsburgh with a Scottish accent.
That should be on there, like those travelers thing. Scotland, Pittsburgh with an accent. Want to share a story with us?
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I was about to say, because I mentioned being stationed in Hawaii. So we were stationed in my command was at the building where the Pearl Harbor Hospital was. So a lot of people died there during the Pearl Harbor attacks and stuff. And in the basement was the morgue, and they still had the fucking morgue lines in this hospital. And this is 2000, right? Like some way long ago, and the fucking morgue lines are still in the basement. We had to do watches at night, and a lot of people said they saw ghosts, and that shit terrified me to like go down in that basement, and like I always felt something watching me and shit. When I would go down there, I was like, I never like seen anything with my own eyes, but I like felt some weird shit going on down there because we had to do our rounds like every 2 hours, or no, every hour doing a fucking 8-hour overnight shift right at our command and shit. So it's like nobody's there. There's only 2 people there, overnight, and you have to keep walking down through this morgue and shit. I was like, man, this was like scary.
Dude. I would be like, nope.
We had to. We would have been neglecting our duties.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. All right, yeah, I can share a story. It's called Birthday from Potted Meat. It's that time of year again when my mom walks me and my sister to the graveyard. The graveyard is on top of the hill in the woods. We spray turpentine on our shoes and take sticks to knock weeds out of the way in case of snakes. We start up the hill, a steep drop on our left, mom in front, sister in the middle, me in the back. We swing at the tops of weeds and stomp on the bottom so they won't pop back up. Slowly we knock down more weeds and step, knock down more and step until we reach the top. Careful not to step on people's graves. Weeds and tree roots and vines cover the headstones. You can read the names if you rip off the vines. We finally get there. It looks different this year because bright green poison ivy crawls on the rusted spiked fence around the grave. After tearing the weeds off the gate, we walk inside. My mom gets on her knees and pulls the roots and moss and poison ivy from the crumbled headstone. She says to my sister, like she says every year, "Here's your twin, died 3 months after y'all was born." I look at my sister. Her twin walks up and stands next to her. They are holding hands. My mom says, "Why, God, why?" I ask my mom again how she died. She just died, she says.
Damn. Is that you? One of your books, at least, it's been adapted into film, yeah?
Yeah, this one. Yeah, Potted Meat.
This one. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the other one being also, or?
No, not yet. It's going to be a play. So, yeah, we're going to do a play out of it.
Oh, wow. You started work on it?
Yeah, we're like dreaming up ideas now and talking about it. So,
yeah. So, are you working on a new book too? I only asked because I saw Khadijah Queen tweeting the other day about how not even ready for what Steven Dunn's going to do next. I was like, what's this motherfucker working on?
Oh, it was just like a little short like story I wrote about the story is about white people saying dumb shit to me at work, but then I happen to be a writer, so I try to write about my experiences, but like people say it's too serious or whatever. So in the story, I say I'm changing to a fantasy writer. And then, but me being a fantasy writer is writing about how white people write about racism, and like they recognize that they don't have made up names. So that was my fantasy book in this story. Try to get it published. But the publisher says like it's too serious and it's not really fantasy. So in the story, I say I change white people to elves, and then and I start reading this elf story, and then white people are like, "Oh my god, those fucking elves are terrible."
The whiter people.
Yeah. And then so in the story, I like start going on book tour with this fantasy novel, and reading it. And white people are like, "Oh my god, you're Tolkien and Toni Morrison if they had a baby," and shit like that. So that's Khadijah was cracking up, So it's about and I do a reading and shit like in the story. I like, okay, now I'm going to read my novel. Then I like kind of make fun of like readings and shit too. And people like, thank you. You all do so much for artists in this city. So I'm just making fun of a whole bunch of shit, basically.
So when's this going to be done?
It's a short story. I can send it to you. Yeah, it's just it got published last year. It's like a very short piece. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for being on here with me. Been meaning to talk to you for a long time about all kinds of shit. So it's been really good. And sorry for all the 4 weeks of postponing for this.
No, that's fine. Yeah, it was fun. I like that too. What you were saying, like this talk is the ghost, right? Like it keeps it thinking.
Yeah. So let's see your book again. Let people know.
I had a quick question for you, if you don't mind sharing. I know you shared.
Sure.
I know you shared a little more about. You shared a little at the beginning about seeing ghosts, but like now, do you see anything? If it's okay to ask you something.
Yeah, of course. Actually, last week, I was coming out of the bathroom and there was a figure peeking at me from the dining room, and I told Judy, I was like, "Oh, I think I saw the figure that you constantly see," and then we described it to each other, and it was like matched, right? So, I mean, it's like all these towns, it's like all these buildings are so old and all that stuff. It's like obviously there's gotta be something going on. And that night, man, after seeing that figure, it was like I had the wildest freaking dreams too. After I went back to bed, it was just like, yeah. But this is our second apartment in Pittsburgh, and the first one, it was like another. Especially with my wife, she was experiencing a lot there, where a figure actually literally stood next to the bed and like grabbed her hand, like, and even like gave her a name. Right? And I can't remember the name right now, but we looked up the last name to see if there's a history of that name in Pittsburgh. And sure enough, there was like a group of migrants from Africa with that last name that came into Pittsburgh. It was like a couple of families. It was wild. So one day I was like, from that apartment, walking home, and then I was looking at the apartment, and then it's like one of those Pittsburgh apartments with a lot of stairs to go up to go into your building. Yeah. The stairs lead right into a crosswalk that run right down the hill into the forest and like into a dead end and into the woods. And I was like, oh shit, this apartment's literally in a crosswalk. It was wild. Yeah. What? It was wild. Yeah.
Man, so I guess, I'm curious, like, what for you, I don't want to say like the function of ghosts or the purpose of ghosts, but I guess like from experience, like what has come, or if there has anything come of seeing ghosts or
my parents grew up talking to me about it all the time ever since I was tiny, and for them it was like more like they were looking more into like the purpose, message, and all that. Whereas for me at this point, it's like some are just there, some are more like there's a specific thing happening. Like when One time in Koreatown in LA, my wife had a dream that a little black boy, was like asking her to help him to go through the park, like a central park. And so he was crying, and so she helped him through. Passed. Next morning, we get up in the morning. A young black man had been murdered next door overnight, around the same time that she was having that dream. So it was like she was literally like walking him through.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. So it's like different times, different things.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I'm glad I asked you about this. Wow. I felt like I didn't have anything valuable to, any input, but wow.
No, it's yeah. I think yeah. I mean, in a country like this, man, like just the layers and layers of people that have been to like build a country on it. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, yeah.
But sometimes, like when it goes a long time without seeing anything or feeling anything, I like miss it. It's like a weird comfort zone for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I've been like questioning myself over the years, it's like, how do I be open to this, something. But it is humbling too. Like when I hear people talk about it, it's like, I don't know shit, man. Like there's just so much, so it's so humbling to me just to hear these things. Yeah. And to kind of like be shaken out of my normal shit too,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Listen to Ever, man.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this was great. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do it. So,
yeah. I don't know when we'll be able to see each other in person again, but
that's true. Yeah.
Whenever that happens.
Yeah.
Steven Dunn, check out his website, stevencdunn.com, DUNN, and get his books, Water and Power and Potted Meat.